In today's rapidly changing manufacturing environment, companies and engineering professionals have to keep themselves abreast of the latest advancements in technology to maintain their competitiveness and professional competency in the shortest time possible. In such a dynamic environment, the need for real-time and forward-thinking training is crucial. To address this immediate needs, the A-Star Singapore Institute of Manufacturing Technology, or SIMTech, and Skills Future Singapore have come together to provide relevant technology-based training for the manufacturing industry.
Singapore Institute of Manufacturing Technology, or SIMTech, is a public research institute under the Agency for Science, Technology and Research, or A-Star. SIMTech's mission is to develop high-value manufacturing technologies and human capital to enhance the competitiveness of Singapore industry. Through a strategic collaboration with industry partners and R&D efforts over the years, SIMTech has generated in-depth knowledge and capabilities through over 300 industry projects annually. This know-how and experience allow our researchers to transfer and upgrade workforce skills aimed at productivity improvement and business transformation. In partnership with the Skills Future Singapore, SIMTech has been upskilling and reskilling the industry since 2008 through a wide range of industrial training programs under the Skills Framework using an innovative learn, practice and implement training model. Through more than 10 years of growth, we now train more than 1,000 professionals annually. This program helped the industry to be future-ready in today's technology workforce, where digital transformation has accelerated, and the key to adopting new technologies is through workforce reskilling and upskilling.
Other than delivering timely, case study-based curriculum, the Knowledge Transfer Office also provides hands-on practical training combined with industry best practices. Participants also have access to SIMTech's state-of-the-art labs to learn about the latest technological advancement to equip themselves with new skills. For example, WSQ Operation Management Innovation Program, or OMNI, which helps companies align process to company strategies and helps many companies to make significant improvement in operational productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. The team has further developed the Digital Transformation and Innovation, or DTI program, to train and guide key personnel of organizations to be digital transformers in leveraging digital technologies to accelerate business model changes and achieve meaningful digital transformation. Using the DTI methodology, participants will learn to analyze and redesign your strategies, business model, value streams, and system architecture to ensure greater alignment, unlock new business growth, and achieve sustainable competitive advantage. As companies continue to benefit from SIMTech's unique courses and manufacturing expertise, the Knowledge Transfer Office at SIMTech is fast becoming recognized as Singapore's one-stop destination for manufacturing skills competency training by offering a wide range of courses and modules. The Knowledge Transfer Office helps industry in continuous education of their manufacturing professionals, managers, engineers, and technicians in the manufacturing sector. By collaborating with SSG, the Knowledge Transfer Office of SIMTech offers a number of SSG-certified WSQ courses, each designed to cater to the respective local industry sector.
I would like to congratulate all the SIMTech graduates for the successful completion of your training. Starting something is easy, seeing it through is difficult. So, I congratulate each of you for seizing the opportunity to learn and upgrade, and for persevering to the end. I'm confident that you have benefited from SIMTech's learn, practice, and implement approach, not just in updating your skill sets, but also in acquiring the mentality to continuously learn new skills, practice them, and then put them to good use in your profession and for your role in the workplace. Your successful graduation also gives us, at Skills Future Singapore, the confidence that our programs and partnerships have delivered value to you as individuals and to your companies. SSG will continue to partner SIMTech to deliver impactful and industry-relevant training and to equip our workforce with in-demand and emerging skills. So, congratulations once again. I wish you the very best in your careers, and I look forward to your contribution to our economy and to the uplifting of our advanced manufacturing sector.
Welcome everyone. Very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Alex and I'm the Industrial Development Manager of Singapore Institute of Manufacturing Technology, which is also known as SIMTech, and I will be your host for today. So SIMTech is a research institute under A-STAR that develops high-value manufacturing technology and human capital to enhance the competitiveness of Singapore's manufacturing industry. So the topic of our presentation for today's webinar is Smart Inventory Management for your business. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the question box in your Zoom control panel. I will bring that up at the end of our presentation where we'll have time for Q&A. And alternatively, you may raise your hands and we will invite you to speak up. So for today's webinar, we'll start off with an introduction of the inventory management for smart manufacturing and service costs by Dr. Wang Fengyu. Next, we will share about the highlights of the SIMTech inventory planning system. Follow on, we will invite Mr. He Wei for the inventory tracking and order delivery, followed by a Q&A, and we'll end the session shortly. Next, I would like to pass the time over to Dr. Wang Fengyu to give an introduction of our upcoming course. Fengyu, please.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Well, good morning to everyone. Today, the topic I'm going to have is talking about how to control excess inventory. My name is Fengyu, you can remember me. So I'm the initiative lead of inventory planning program in SIMTech. So for all of us, we know that actually excess inventory is no good because excess inventory causes many issues from the high inventory costs, aging stock, cash flow issue. So of course, the people call this excess inventory the root of all evil. Of course, shortage also causes many problems like a business loss, or urgent order and so on. That's why most of the people in company, most of the company, they have the regular planning exercise. Try to review the inventory regularly to minimize the risk and maximize performance. However, what's happening inside the box are so-called planning exercise. In real situation, as we understand, most companies do have an administrative process in place for management, the top management to endorse the purchase. However, there are lack of the technical process tools to assist the manager who proposed the purchase plan. So this caused some issues, and the people that make the proposal, the purchase proposal, very much depends on their experience. So normally they face a challenge in how much is too much. So you can imagine most of the time of our company, even SMEs, they keep $1 million or $1 million, even $100 million inventory. If a small percentage is saving, probably 5% to 10% saving in terms of inventory, could bring company a substantial saving, right? So this how much is too much? Actually, the $1 million question for most of the company. So that's why today I will talk about how to engage data analytics driven inventory planning techniques to achieve right size inventory. So this is the agenda for today. I will first clarify a few very common questions when we visit the company, have a discussion with this company. Some company, when we talk to them, inventory planning, the management immediately turn to the manager. Can all ERP systems solve the problem for us? Or sometimes they saw that the one black box solution have the company solve the inventory problem. Actually, may not true because inventory planning itself is a process. So we are talking about what is the generic process, inventory planning process also. And then, of course, today we have a very good hot topic to talk about data analytics. So the third question we try to clarify here is how the data analytics techniques can help in the inventory plan also. Finally, we conclude in the success factor, especially we focus on the system implementation and the innovation. So there's a first one, can ERP system solve all inventory headache. This is a very common issue that people try to ask to clarify. Basically, as we know, ERP is the backbone system for most of the business. And this type of system is a transaction-based system. Whereas if you look at the inventory planning system, is an optimization solution we are talking about. So they are different, actually different. What the cause confusion? Probably because of one of the module in ERP system, in classical ERP system, called material requirement, raw material inventory requirement. So this type of solution in the classical ERP, they talk about the demand or requirement. For example, if say we receive an order, we need to deliver 1,000 product in 5 weeks time. So the system will tell the management, the production manager, we need to the 1,000 component, a particular component in week 2. That we have to the 1,000 component. Otherwise, we cannot deliver 1,000 finished product in week 5. So this type of requirement will be done by the so-called MRP or MRP2 system. But we need the 1,000 part, but how much in warehouse will be 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000? It's not the business of the MRP function. So this may cause the confusion. And over many years around, the software vendors also realized actually they need to incorporate such inventory planning mechanism. That's why the solution also growing. Some functions, some system like Microsoft Dynamics, they do incorporate something like a min-max policy. However, the end user need to offline to figure out what the value, the minimum, or the value maximum for each of the individual SKUs, which is very challenging part. And some other ERP software vendor, they do have the module called inventory planning. However, because they're so big, a very complex solution, people need to tune here and there to set up the different type of parameters. Eventually, end user may not have this type of capability to do this. So we fed up with the complex solutions. This is another observation from us. And the other key issues, most of the type of so-called ERP system, they don't have the feature for prediction or performance prediction in terms of inventory system. So they don't like a crystal ball type of solution tell what's going to happen in future. So this is a missing part in the most of the system. And when we talk to ERP system, that lead to another question. Most of the time when we Google search, we can see, we Google search the inventory management system. We see many type of solutions available in the internet. Right? So the question is, can we engage this type of so-called inventory management solution to solve my problem? The answer will be more complex because inventory management is a very wide scope. Basically, they are including different type of modules to pursuing different purpose. For example, we may have a inventory tracking for pursuing accuracy, which is a key function they talk about. And then we may have a planning, which is our topic today. Be talking about how to optimize the performance over the supply chain. And some talk about the inventory control part of it, how to control the quality and the quantity. Of course, another very common function, the warehouse management system, talking about space utilization and efficiency. So depends on the vendor, the focus of the solution. They may call the solution called inventory management, but you need to very clearly define your problem you are facing and then try to match, try to select the best solution can match to your problem. So this is our suggestion. When you select the tools, you need to understand your problem first and then evaluate the function they call inventory management, but what exactly they try to solve, the problem they try to solve. Are you problem in the focus of the function for the matching? So because the different module they serve, they pursue different objectives, they face different type of challenges, the solution are totally different. So may not cover each other. So this is the common issue because most of the people, they hope a black box solution can help them to solve inventory headache. This is very common because they are focused, their expertise is not in the inventory, they are their own specific domain. So they hope they can find a black box solution to help them solve all this headache, but in reality may not be practical because inventory planning itself is a process. So this process try to improve the performance. So what exactly the inventory planning process looks like? So we try to illustrate it here. But basically, like any other planning activities before plan for future, we need to know what happened in the past. Without knowing past, it's very difficult for us to move forward, right? Also, in the second step, we try to understand what's going to happen, what the target for us to move ahead, what the goal, what the target. Either we go to journey or past. We need to make clear the target, otherwise we get lost. And the step 3, we need to make sure we have make the right decision can help us to move towards the direction. This is very, very important. So this is a common sense. Of course, this is a very common sense. Just something like in farming business. So in 1,000 years ago in China, the farmer, they already know. They know the 4 seasons. Each season they do different things. If they forgot to plant the seed in the spring, the whole year they receive nothing, right? If they delay a few days for harvest, then the problem may spoil in the field. So they know, they actually define the step they call process based on the rule in the nature world. So we call this a 天时 in Chinese. So similarly, bring back to our inventory planning context. Actually, we also need to follow some logic or common sense here. Basically, we need to know what happened in the past, how we're going to move to for future, the target, and how to make sure the target can be made. Finally, all this are clear. Finally, we can make the decision. So people actually try to follow the logic because it's a common sense for everybody. However, when they try to go through the step, they face a different type of difficulties. For example, in the first step, people may lack this type of performance visibility. In terms of the inventory performance, it's not the visibility of the inventory, talking about how much pieces you have, where they're located. It's not the type of visibility. We're talking about assume you're selling $1 million in last year. What would be the inventory you hold to support the sales, right? What the inventory turns and so on. So those type of performance visibility, then we know moving forward, how should we control the inventory to improve the performance? So this type of information may not available for all the companies. Some companies that are very good may have this type of report, but majority don't have. Move to the second step, people also lack the tools to balance service inventory level and the service level. When we say, for example, if say the company achieved say 80% of service level in past say 6 months or 1 year, and the management decide to improve to say 90%. So people agree, but what will be the impact to inventory? Are we going to increase inventory by 10% only, or increase by 50%, or do we need to double inventory? So this may not so clear for people. If we don't know what happening to inventory, how we can achieve the business objective? So this is the challenge we are facing now. Move to the third step, people also don't have the way to validate the decision. Are we make the right decision to support, to move up towards the direction or away from the direction? So this one will be like something like a crystal ball. When I want to make decision, we should know what's going to happen in future. So we call what if analysis. So only all these issues to overcome, then we can, most likely we can make the right decision. Otherwise, we just by chance or by luck, right? So all this is in summary, just one word say, most of the time people lack of the performance visibility. So what the performance visibility exactly talking about? We use a chart to illustrate, which is a very simple concept also. That means in the y-axis, we actually have the inventory level, whole inventory to serve customers. So y-axis is a so-called service level. So the good news and bad news. The bad news is we may continue increase inventory, but the service level may not change because we hit the limit, which is 100%. The good news is we may have inventory, the service level may not affect too much also, because again, we are very close to the limitation. So the key point is, do we have the visibility of the trade-off point where we can achieve the targeted service level with a minimum or reasonable inventory? The point may not be precisely one point, could be a range. So of course, the business is a dynamic. If the volume increase, if you keep the same inventory level, your service level will be dropped. So we need to quickly adjust and then find another trade-off point to improve the business. So this is the concept, actually very simple. How to realize this concept in real solution, in the technical solution, there might be a challenge. So now I share with you how the SimTech developed the solution to implement the so-called the visibility, performance visibility. Here is one example, very straightforward. which the dashboard shows the performance we call access inventory. So if you look at this, the dashboard can show you you can figure out that those are your no interest, only select the interest product category, A item, B item on fast moving, slow moving. And then the chart can show you the blue shows on hand dollars among the item, the category you select. And among the on hand, the pink color shows 20% actually inventory, actually access. So if you zoom into individual part, so the dashboard in the right hand side shows for this particular item SKU 103, the pink color part actually access inventory. However, for another item 104, ideally we supposed to hold so much, but currently only a small portion, of the ideal quantity. So this shows probably potentially there will be material shortage. So this dashboard will tell us what's happening now. Are we face access or shortage situation? So give us a visibility. How about for future? We use another type of technique to show the future situation, to predict the future performance. Here we engage the policy, core policy. Basically, ROP is a minimum. We have a minimum, maximum. So if we adopt this type of policy, the right-hand side shows a corresponding performance for future. It's a simulation, performance simulation. So in terms of turns, fill rate, inventory position, and on hand. For some part, say for example, the current policy may not good because the inventory turn we cannot meet the target. So in this case, we may modify the policy. So for example, here we change to a new policy. We try to improve the inventory turns, and yet we still can meet the fill rate. Currently, the 99% is very high. For our target, we set the target is 90%. So now you can see when we change another policy, the new result seems can meet all type of performance target. So this policy be better than the other one. So we call this what if analysis, right? It's very common again. And we try error. You can try error until you're happy with the solution, the performance. Then we adopt. It is a policy for us to control the inventory for next 6 months or even 3 months or 6 months, even longer. So this gives us a way to see, like a crystal ball, to see what's going to happen in the future based on best knowledge. Of course, the trial error will be very tedious. That's why we engage another research outcome in SimTech. We use another optimization engine. The software can automatically to do the trial error for 100 or few thousand times, eventually identify so-called best policy. So this is how we can predict the inventory performance of future to give us an idea what's going to happen. So we call this type of solution a data analytics solutions on data analytics. So you can see when people read the raw materials, the raw data one by one, very difficult to make decision. However, when we bump into analytics, we can see many information. Just like the raw material, like something like a crude oil, right? It's a messy. We can do nothing. But when we bump in the crude oil to refinery blend, what do we have? A different type of petrol. Right? We can drive a car. We can make an airplane take off. Similarly, the data analytics tools play the same function. So by coming up with this type of meaningful information, we can easily to make a decision, the right decision to control the inventory for future. So this is what we talk about the inventory data analytics can help us. Of course, when we talk about data analytics, most people just keep in mind the so-called very famous model, data analytics model defined by Gartner Group. They are very good. They describe the question we are talking about, use a very formal terminologies. For example, descriptive analytics are used to describe what happened before. And the diagnostics analytics used to identify why did it happen. Of course, they use a predictive analysis to tell what's going to happen, and the prescriptive analytics to talk about how to make it happen. So these are normal terminologies used in the data analytics model. In our research, actually, we realize the different function or solution. Actually, this solution, the function map to the terminologies defined in the model, actually. This is how our research is doing to come up some output to support, to map to the solution. So this is how we do it. Of course, when we say we have the technologies, doesn't mean everything perfect. That means the success implement the solution still very much depends on many other factors. So technology is one part. In here, this is a very famous model. Most people know this also. Means we always talk about the three key factors: process, technology, and the people, which the people equipped with the knowledge, of course. So in our inventory planning context, the process we are talking about, basically the steps that we define, we follow the common sense, right? So, and then the technology, of course, we're talking about here is the data analytics driven technology. So if we translate to Chinese, like a process like a tianxi, we need to follow, and then the technology like the dili, we can rely on, and we can make use to achieve our objective. We have a tianxi dili. What else are we missing? 人和, right? These are people. So people we know, without people nothing happen. People are very critical for all the system success implementation. But here we just mentioned two observations in terms of people factor. One, we talk about the implementation. Another, we talk about the innovation. Because for us, we have many industry collaboration. So I think the opportunity, we have many discussion, meetings, webinar, seminars, so on, to talk to people in industry. So we found that the people actually very good. They have very good concept in the inventory management area. For example, inventory turns, lead time, policy, the other many concepts. They are very good. They even can calculate it based on the historical data. But what happened? What they're missing is they are able to apply this concept to the planning process. That means they may not be able to use the data, the concept they have to plan for future. This is the missing part. So that means this suggests the current concept-centric training need to convert to implementation-driven implementation. This is the missing in the current situation. The second talk of the inventory, so-called innovation, in the digital era, the innovation become a hot topic. The government talking about the smart nation, organization also try to develop the smart organizations. So the big question is where the innovation come from. Is the innovation from the top management or from the one or two the smart head in the organization? Actually, we know, right? The so-called innovation is supposed to involve everyone in the organization. So everybody can contribute the idea to the innovation. By right, this is the case. But in the real situation, we may face many difficulties. Still take the example in inventory management. People may have the idea, try to improve the performance, inventory performance. They need more information, right? So if they propose to have a new report, if you approach to a consultant company, they charge you 5K or 10K per report. If you approach to in-house development, IT colleague may take 2 to 3 or even longer months, ding dong around, finally come out the report. By then you already forget what the next step in the innovation. So all this is tedious process that kill or destroy the innovation. I may use another example, you may have a better understanding why we say the tedious process kill the innovation. So in local, many people buy 4D and Dodo, right? They not only for money, but also because of the curiosity. So they are so excited after buying the ticket, they're so excited waiting for the result. They try to approve their decision is correct. This is the nature of people. Make decision, they want to see the impact, the influence. They're very curious to want to know the result. And they want to know the result immediately. So if you can imagine, if the Duo 4D, they're selling twice per year, and each time take 6 months, the result that come out. You can imagine how many people still buy Duo 4D, right? The people lost the curiosity, lost the interest, right? So same situation, we can bring the psychological factor to innovation. When people have the idea, try to solve their headache or solve the problem they are facing, if they can implement the solution immediately and then immediately see the result, and of course they may tune the solution and try again. The key point is they can see the result immediately. So by so doing, they can keep the momentum of the innovation. So now the important part of our company, how we create such a system for people keeping the innovation. This is more important. So now I'd like to show you the SimTech solution for these two observations. So first, in our training, in terms of the implementation driven training, in our solution, we adopt the learn, practice, and implement the model. This is a new model. In here, of course, we introduce the concept, principle, and the process in terms of inventory management. And then we put all these concepts into different scenarios to help people understand how this concept link to different scenarios. Once they develop the skill, they can apply to implementation. Of course, because the time limit, during the training, we may implement for small scale, for example, 20 SKU to 50 SKU. So for participants to learn the implementation, after they master skill, they can go back to for full-fledged implementation. So this is how we change the concept-centric training to implementation-driven training in our course. Okay, so this is the topic we're going to conduct in our training, 10 topics. Of course, the 10 sessions. Each session half day or 4 hours. So in total, we have a 40 hours training. We are talking about the inventory planning process, the framework, the policy development, the performance measure and the planning, the performance optimization, risk analysis. Of course, we're talking the inventory tracking, delivering, and the implementation, continuous improvement as well. So all these topics are covered in real environment for company, for participants to understand how the urgency, how the important for their performance improvement for different segment. So this is how we conduct the content, and this is a training heavily subsidized by ISST. So for Singapore citizen and the PR, they can enjoy 70% of the subsidy. If the Singapore citizen over 40 years ago, they enjoy 90%. Or if the PR or citizen, they come from SMEs, they also join up to 90%. So all these are available, very generous subsidy by government. And in the training way, just now the solution you saw, the solution, the trial version will be set up to all the participants computer for hands-on. Everyone need to hands-on. So this is free, no charge for set up to trial the version to the participant computer. So the common batch will be coming in February, and for some company, many people involved, probably 6 or 8 people or up to 10 people. Then we can form a corporate batch. Or some small company, only 2 to 3 people involved in the inventory management, and then they can join public batch. The coming batch is a public batch. For 2 to 3 companies join together to form a batch. This is how we arrange our training. For those of you who are interested, you can approach to my colleague Alex for the registration, or any question you still can talk to us. Okay, so this is the first solution. Talk about the second observation regarding the innovation. In order to solve the problem, we need to bring back the Gartner data analytics model in here. Our SimTech solution actually very strong in the last two, predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics, based on our research output, talking about the optimization engine, the simulation engine. But the solution relatively weak for the first two, especially diagnostics, because this type of analytics, they're based on real data, and the people have a different reference to how to see the data. So people, individuals have different preference. They have different angle to look at the situation. So the report, the dashboard developed here is more customized or even personalized. So here, thanks to the availability of the new BI solution called Business Intelligence. So we start from the current batch. We're going to have a free inventory BI workshop after the training. So to have people, have the participant to develop the skill in BI skills. So they can customize their own solution, follow the template that we have. Either they want to develop the technical operational BI report, or they talk about the strategic BI dashboard or analytical BI dashboard, depends. So we have different type of the so-called the template for people to follow. So in the end, we hope people can master the type of skills, which is very important today. So long people have a raw data, they can develop their own solution without involving the IT topics. That means today, if you know the BI solution, you have the data, the end user, be the planner, manager, director, to do anything they want to do. They come out their own customized report, dashboard, to understand the pattern, demand pattern, the performance trend, whatever they want to see. Because everything under control already. So long you know both, you have a power solution, you have a BI solution, and the raw data in hand, you can do anything already. So in the end, I like this example for ICUS trainees that they can finish this type of design, Power BI design, with 2 to 3 weeks from scratch, can quickly to pick up and develop their own, customize their own dashboard. So both training and the workshop actually is about how to help people to develop their capabilities. That means we hope after go through the training, the workshop, people can upgrade their capability from level 1 to level 2, or even to level 3. If they engage simulation, the solution or optimization, either developed by Simtech or by other vendors, they can move up to here. But level 2, basically without they equip with the knowledge, but without any specific software, this can achieve the level 2 capabilities. So only people equipped with this type of knowledge and skill, they can improve. They are able to improve the performance, imagery performance, and also create the values for other benefit to the company. Right. So finally, I want to finish my presentation with 2 quotations. 2005 years ago, in Chinese, the famous book, Sun Zi Bing Fa, already shows, if you want to win the war, the more calculation, the more chance. Less calculation, less chance. If no calculation, no chance at all. The second one, more interesting, from the later British Prime Minister, Mr. Churchill. Plan of little important, but planning is essential. So this quotation may disclose the secret of why planning is required. So I end my presentation here. If you have a question, you can talk to my colleague or to myself also. I still have a few minutes. I take another few minutes to demo to you the live, so-called live inventory planning system developed by Simtech. So the solution actually very straightforward. It's an Excel-based solution. So this is the solution we are talking about. You can see from here, actually, by click a few buttons now, you can do everything you want to do already. Just few click buttons. You can see the dashboard, the different type of performance dashboard. For the just now we say access inventory dashboards, right? So we can see many things through the dashboard, and then you can also evaluate the inventory performance and so on. So by different type of policy, you can generate the corresponding performance, give you a prediction, the inventory performance prediction. And then we also can generate the so-called automate generate the purchase request. So only those in red dot, those items need to purchase. The rest item we still have enough inventory. So give a very clear, just few click through, you will be able to control your inventory. And of course, the challenging part is more in here. The data preparing. That means before you run the software, you need to prepare the set of data. Here we are talking about the 6 set of data. Here the 5 set data, and we also need to the parameter. So 6 set of data is important for us to run the solution. So data preparation, the cleanup is critical for the success in terms of inventory control, inventory planning. This is the data. This is the software will be set up to the notebook for all the participants in the training. You can play around. They can bring home to play around, use the real data to run, to test, to feel how the performance, to understand to interpret the situation that lead to the decision making. So this is the system we are engaged in our training. Okay, and here, if you have a more question, you can later after Mr. Hervey present, you can come together. We can try to answer any question you may have. Thank you for your attention. Alex, pass back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Feng Yu, for your presentation. So now I would like to launch a quick poll to understand whether would you be interested to register for our upcoming course, Inventory Management for Smart Manufacturing and Services, which will be launched on 18 Feb to 18 March. So there will be 4 options for you to choose: yes, maybe, no, interested but need more information. We would like to strongly encourage all the participants to give us your feedback so that we can approach you immediately after the webinar to find out how we can assist in your course enrollment or provide you any further questions if you have. Thank you. So once again, we would like to strongly encourage you, and it will be greatly appreciated if you can fill in out the poll questions so that we can understand the industrial feedback. I will strongly encourage all the participants to key in your questions in our Q&A box, and we can answer it immediately on the spot with you. So it's a rare opportunity for you to really ask any questions on the spot together with our trainer that is available now.
Okay, Alex, I saw 4 questions regarding inventory planning.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I try to answer the question one by one. Thank you, Marianne, to answer the rest of the question, resolve the question. Okay, first question, how useful for the retail? And there are many talking about the manufacturing. You know, Simtech is a manufacturing organization, a research organization for manufacturing. So majority of our customer for manufacturing or trading industry, right, for this particular program. For the answer whether can apply the tools to retail, yes, no, depends on the product. For example, if like a fresh, like a bread, the milk may not be suitable, apply this type of tools because the tools developed for the situation where the supply lead time really too long. For example, 2 months, 3 months. If the supply lead time very short, 1 day, 2 days, you may try to improve your forecast accuracy rather than apply another planning tools because you may not need to keep so much inventory, the turnover very fast. Also, this is a question. So for retail industry, probably the frozen product or the canned product probably suitable. We can try, like, if you like, we can. So far, we don't have a retail, the customer from retail sector. The second question talking about whether we can do the seasonality, support the seasonality SKU. The answer is yes. May I share my screen now, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So if you look at the configuration now, we do have the consideration in our number of months forecast for planning. That means here it's not fully auto, need to semi-auto now. So for example, during the New Year or Chinese New Year, we have a 3 months peak season. So the supply probably take 2 months. Then this number here, we put the 3 months. That means we need to configure the forecast. We are talking about the 3 months, the peak season forecast. And then 2 months before, we need to plan here. So 2 months before we need to bump in. That means I usually need to aware. Now they are planning because the logistic replenish take 2 months. So they need to start planning for the peak season during this moment. So they need to aware, they need to start from here, then bumping the forecast, the 3 months forecast, or even can be longer, up to you. The forecast we talk about the peak season. And then the system will be follow the new forecast to suggest purchase required the policy and so on. And then before the end, 2 months ago, the user need to set back to the 12 months and go back to the normal forecast. So that's why I say semi-auto. People need to evolve to aware they are doing something for peak season and they need to go back to the normal season. So this part we do support the function. The third question, can we support the up to 30K? Okay, we test before the system, we can support the 50K shouldn't be a problem, but in real situation, you may not need to so much in one Excel file. There are few reasons. One, you bump in too many records in Excel, the Excel performance will drop significantly. You know the Excel file, right? If too many records, the performance will be very bad. Secondly, you may not combine all the product together. For example, some product are very expensive, a few $1,000s per piece. Some just a few cents. You may not manage them together. There could be saved to different Excel file, different planning system for us, but basically to different Excel file in this case. And also, for example, other scenario like some item, your supplementary time take say 3 months. Another probably take 2 weeks. Again, there is no point to combine them together in one file because the read, the frequency, the delivery frequency are very much different. So we may separate them to different files. Anyway, they most likely in charge by different people. So I don't know whether that can answer your question here. This is the third question. The last question. Okay, last question talking about whether beside Excel, do we need to have other requirement? No, this is a solution we develop using Excel, use a macro. Of course, we have a setup file, and the so-called the engine is not in macro. The engine in the another we call .NET environment. So, but the engine is transparent to you. We just copy the engine to your system. The engine, the simulation engine, optimization engine can talk to the macro. So this is transparent to you. You may not aware. It's behind. So basically, we need to Excel only, and the requirement that we need to have a 64-bit Excel from 2016 or above. So this is a basic requirement. We don't have extra needed. I think. Okay, I think that's all I have for the question. I'm not sure whether I answer your question or not.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to request all participants to type in your questions in our Q&A box, and we can share it with the rest of the audience as well.
Oh, sorry, Alex, I need to mention one more time. Probably if you want to try, we can arrange a session and then we discuss. Probably you can prepare a set of data. We can try for you. All this type is free of charge. You can provide the set of data based on the template you provide. Then we try to run the software, and then you can see the result, whether they're suitable or not suitable for your product. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. After the webinar, we will be happy to approach you to arrange for a private visit to your company or separate meeting sessions where you can elaborate on our technology and the causes. Okay, the time now is 11:03. So I'd like to have a last call if there's any questions from the attendee of this particular webinar.
Alex, cannot hear you.
Yes, we will. Yes, thank you very much for your participation in our webinar today. We will look forward to your active participation in our upcoming course, and do feel free to approach us if you have any questions related to the course and the technology that's presented today. Yes, our contact details can be found on this slide. Do you have any last word to add?
No, that's no other addition.
Okay, otherwise, do you have any last words to add? Thank you. That's it for today.